What if I told you that while you sleep tonight, a hidden frequency, a powerful vibration beneath your consciousness, could be summoning wealth to you as naturally as breathing? Would you believe me, or would you dismiss it as just another far-fetched promise? The truth is, most people spend their entire lives chasing money externally, struggling and striving, when the real power to attract abundance has been within them all along. Has this ever happened to you? You work harder, you hustle more, you follow all the conventional financial advice, yet wealth still feels just out of reach. That's because you've been operating on the wrong frequency. The frequency that attracts money effortlessly isn't found in effort or struggle. It's found in something much more profound: assumption. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. What I'm about to share with you isn't for everyone. It's not for the outer man who chases money through desperate action. It's for the inner being who understands that true wealth begins within, in the sanctuary of your consciousness. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to show you exactly how to tap into this hidden frequency that calls money to you while you rest. You see, most people have it backwards. They believe that when they have money, then they'll feel wealthy. But what if I told you that feeling wealthy first is what actually summons the money? That's the secret that the world's truly abundant individuals understand. A secret that operates on the level of vibration and frequency, not strategy and tactics. Tonight, as you lay your head on your pillow, I'm going to guide you into a state where your very sleep becomes a magnet for wealth. You'll discover how to allow your subconscious to create financial abundance without resistance, without delay, without the endless struggle that leaves so many exhausted and still wanting. What you're about to discover might surprise you. It might even challenge everything you thought you knew about how money comes to you. But I promise you this: once you understand how to enter the frequency of wealth internally, your external reality will have no choice but to reflect that vibration back to you. This isn't wishful thinking. This isn't positive psychology. This is about activating a current that flows beneath the surface of everyday awareness, a current that, once assumed, begins to rearrange your financial reality while you sleep. The question isn't whether this vibration exists, it's whether you're ready to stop chasing and start embodying it. Subscribe to the channel now and unlock more powerful manifestation secrets that will transform your financial reality. Each video brings you closer to activating your natural state of abundance. The real revelation comes when you understand what I call the mirror principle. You see, most people believe that money is the cause of their feelings, that having more wealth will create security, confidence, and peace. But here's the hidden truth that transforms everything. Money isn't the cause at all, it's the effect. It's simply the echo, the reflection of your internal state. Look around at your current financial circumstances. What you're seeing is not random chance or bad luck. It's the perfect mirror, reflecting back your inner assumptions about wealth, about what's possible for you, about what you believe you deserve. The problem was never about money itself. The problem was forgetting your true nature as the operant power in your own life. This revelation can be both liberating and challenging. Liberating because it means you're not at the mercy of external forces. Challenging because it places the responsibility squarely in your hands. Your journey toward abundance isn't about chasing something outside yourself. It's about remembering who you truly are. Think of it this way: just as a mirror doesn't create the image it reflects, your outer world doesn't create your financial reality. It simply shows you what you've been projecting from within. This isn't some mystical philosophy. It's the fundamental blueprint of how reality operates at its core. Now, once you understand this mirror principle, the next step in your transformation is to enter what I call the sanctuary of imagination. This is the sacred inner space where all creation begins. By consciously entering this sanctuary, you remove the veil of limitation that has kept you bound to old patterns of lack. Within this sanctuary, something profound happens. You cease the endless striving that has exhausted you and instead assume the frequency of your wish fulfilled. You don't visualize wealth as something distant to acquire. You feel it as something already yours, already present in your being. Your human imagination isn't merely a tool for daydreaming or creative thinking. It's the secret place of the Most High, the creative center of your entire reality. It's where decisions become destiny, where thoughts become things, where frequencies become fortune. The mindset shift required here is substantial. Most people have been conditioned to believe that imagination is just fantasy, something separate from real life. But those who've uncovered the deeper mechanics of manifestation understand that imagination is the workshop where reality is forged before it ever appears in the physical world. When you enter this sanctuary daily, especially in those precious moments before sleep, when the conscious mind relaxes its guard, you begin a process of reimagining your relationship with money. You're not pretending to be wealthy. You're awakening to the wealth that already exists within your consciousness. This is where the real journey behind the scenes of manifestation takes place. While others are busy chasing external validation and temporary fixes, you're working at the causal level of reality. You're changing the signal you're broadcasting to the universe, and in doing so, you're changing what the mirror of life must reflect back to you. The revelations I'm sharing aren't meant to be merely intellectual concepts. They're meant to be lived experiences that reshape your entire approach to financial abundance. When you truly grasp that your imagination isn't just making pictures in your mind, but actually setting frequencies in motion, you begin to treat those inner images and feelings with the reverence they deserve. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how your inner speech, the constant dialogue happening within your mind, either reinforces or transforms your financial frequency. Because once you understand how to adjust this hidden conversation, you'll have accessed one of the most powerful tools for reprogramming your relationship with wealth. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own inner knowing, type "I am the operant power" in the comments below. This simple affirmation acknowledges the truth we're exploring together. Your inner dialogue, this constant conversation you're having with yourself about money and abundance, shapes your financial reality more powerfully than any external action. Listen carefully to these whispers in your mind. When you say, "I can't afford," and that, or "money is always tight for me," you're not describing your reality, you're creating it. These aren't innocent observations, they're creative commands to your subconscious mind. The blueprint for transformation begins when you realize that your imagination isn't just making pictures, it's emitting frequencies that the universe must respond to. This isn't wishful thinking, this is the architecture of reality itself. The question becomes, what frequency are you consistently broadcasting? Most people oscillate between different states throughout their day. One moment they feel hopeful about their financial future. The next, they're anxious about bills. This inconsistency creates a mixed signal, and the mirror of life reflects back this confusion in the form of unpredictable financial circumstances. The awakening happens when you decide to stabilize your frequency, to hold the vibration of abundance steadily, regardless of what your current bank account says. This is the pivotal moment in your journey when you move from being a passive participant in your financial story to becoming its conscious author. Consider this revelation. Right now, in this very moment, you're not experiencing life. You're experiencing yourself. Your bank account, your income streams, your financial opportunities, these aren't random occurrences happening to you. They're outer projections of your inner landscape. The world isn't happening to you. It's responding to you. The insight that changes. Everything is understanding that your financial situation isn't your identity, it's your echo. When you fully grasp this distinction, you're free to rewrite your inner narrative without waiting for external permission. You don't need to see the money first to feel wealthy. Feeling wealthy first is what summons the money. Don't miss a single insight on your abundance journey. Hit subscribe and join thousands who are discovering how to activate their wealth frequency through these proven principles. This understanding illuminates the path forward. Instead of asking, how can I get more money? Ask yourself, who would I be if I were already financially abundant? Feel into that state. Embody that person. Let their confidence, their generosity, their ease with money become your new normal, not as an act or performance, but as an authentic expression of who you choose to be. When you enter the sanctuary of your imagination with this clarity, you're no longer begging the universe for scraps. You're communing with the infinite creative source within you. You're acknowledging your birthright of abundance. This shift in perspective isn't just mental gymnastics, it's a fundamental realignment of your energetic signature. Your imagination is the workshop where financial freedom is forged. Each time you consciously enter this sacred space and assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you're recoding your relationship with abundance at the quantum level. You're telling the universe, this is who I am now. And the universe, being the perfect mirror, must reflect that declaration back to you. The mastery of this practice comes when you can maintain this feeling regardless of appearances, when you can look at an empty wallet and still feel the certainty of abundance. This isn't denial. It's operating from a deeper level of reality where the seed precedes the harvest, where the invisible gives birth to the visible. The true alchemy happens in those precious moments. Before sleep, when your conscious mind relaxes its guard and your subconscious becomes receptive to new programming. We'll explore exactly how to leverage this twilight state to impress the frequency of wealth upon your deeper mind, creating a powerful attractor field that works while you rest. If you recognize the power of being the conscious creator of your financial reality rather than its victim, type, "I choose my frequency," in the comments below. Now, let's explore the fundamental mechanism that makes this whole process work, the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is the hidden architect of your reality, the tireless worker that brings your dominant thoughts and feelings into physical form. But here's the revelation that changes everything. You don't command your subconscious through effort or willpower. You command it through feeling. Think about this powerful truth for a moment. Your subconscious doesn't respond to what you want or what you logically understand. It responds only to what you feel as real. This is why affirmations alone often fail to create lasting change. Repeating, "I am wealthy" 100 times while feeling poor simply sends mixed signals to your subconscious, creating confusion rather than clarity. The breakthrough occurs when you realize that the key to commanding your subconscious is falling asleep in the end result, in the knowing, in the being. That twilight state between wakefulness and sleep is the portal through which your deepest programming enters. In those precious moments, the analytical mind steps aside, and whatever feeling state you carry across that threshold becomes the instruction your subconscious follows while you rest. This isn't about forcing yourself to believe something against your better judgment. It's about gently shifting your awareness into a state where your desire feels natural, even inevitable. When you fall asleep feeling wealthy, truly feeling it in your bones, you're activating a frequency that attracts corresponding experiences into your life with surprising ease. Your journey to financial abundance must include mastering your inner speech, that ongoing dialogue happening within your mind. Most people underestimate the creative power of these internal conversations. Every time you say to yourself, "I never have enough," or "money is hard to come by," you're reinforcing that reality in your subconscious mind. The path to transformation begins with a deliberate mental diet, carefully choosing which thoughts you'll entertain and which you'll release. Just as you wouldn't willingly consume poison in your physical diet, you must become equally discerning about the thoughts you allow to take root in your consciousness. The hidden truth that masters of manifestation understand is that your inner speech shapes your frequency more powerfully than any external circumstance. When you consistently speak to yourself from the perspective of already having received your desire, you create an internal environment where abundance feels normal rather than exceptional. But here's where courage comes into the equation. The courage to ignore contradictory sensory evidence. When your bank account says one thing, but your inner knowing says another, which will you honor? The world will always present you with evidence that supports your old story. Your task is to remain faithful to your new frequency despite these appearances. Before sleep, each and night, engage in specific mental practices that align you with the frequency of abundance. Speak words that resonate with wealth consciousness. I am so grateful that money flows to me effortlessly. Visualize scenes that imply your financial freedom is already accomplished. Perhaps seeing yourself checking an account balance that brings a smile to your face. But most importantly, generate the emotions that would accompany this reality. The relief, the gratitude, the security, the joy. These aren't mere psychological exercises. They're energetic transmissions to the universe. Each night as you drift into sleep, carrying these impressions, you're broadcasting a frequency that the world must respond to according to universal law. While your conscious mind rests, your subconscious continues working, rearranging the patterns of your life to match your dominant feeling state. The impact of this practice compounds over time. Each night, you're impressing the same vibration upon your subconscious. You're strengthening that signal, making it more coherent, more powerful. The revelations that will unfold in your external experience aren't random coincidences. They're the natural expression of your internal programming. Let's delve deeper into how this frequency activation creates a bridge between your inner and outer worlds, and why the moments before sleep are the most potent time for this practice. If you've experienced moments where your inner knowing felt more real than your outer circumstances, type "inner knowing guides me" in the comments. The profound awakening that changes everything comes when you truly grasp this revelation. There is no outer wealth apart from inner wealth. This isn't just a nice philosophy, it's the fundamental architecture of reality. Look around at the wealthiest people in the world. Yes, they have money, assets, and resources. But what preceded all of that was a state of consciousness, a frequency, an inner knowing that they were already what they desired to be. This inner wealth, this state of being, is what the rational mind struggles to comprehend. We've been conditioned to believe that wealth is something we acquire rather than something we embody. We've been taught that money comes to us because we work hard, because we're strategic, because we make the right connections. And while those things may play a role in the process, they're not the causative factor. They're expressions of an internal reality that already exists. Your journey of transformation begins when you stop thinking of wealth as something outside yourself that you need to chase down and capture. It's not a butterfly you're trying to net. It's a frequency you're tuning into, a station that's already broadcasting. The millionaire mindset isn't something you develop after you have millions. It's the consciousness that precedes and creates the millions. This revelation often creates resistance because it flips our conventional understanding. upside down. But the masters throughout history have always known this hidden truth. Your external life is merely the echo of your internal state. The bank account, the investments, the cash flow, these are all reflections, not causes. They're manifestations of a frequency you've been consistently broadcasting. The paradox that confuses so many seekers is this: if you're trying to get rich, you're operating from a frequency of not being rich, and that contradiction keeps wealth at arm's length. The authentic shift happens when you stop trying to become wealthy and instead recognize that wealth is your natural state, your birthright, an expression of who you already are at the core. Now, here's where the logic of creation may seem offensive to the rational mind, but it operates on higher principles that transcend conventional thinking. Money doesn't come because you want it. It comes because you already are it in consciousness. This distinction isn't just semantic. It's the key that unlocks the wealth frequency. When you want something, you're broadcasting the frequency of absence. You're telling the universe, I don't have this thing and I need it to complete me. But when you assume the consciousness of already being it, you shift into a completely different vibrational signature. You're no longer asking for something, you're expressing something that already exists within you. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this is the most crucial insight. Consciousness precedes form. Your awareness, your knowing, your feeling state isn't just reacting to reality, it's creating reality. This is why two people can engage in identical actions but experience radically different results. One is operating from the consciousness of already having, while the other is operating from the consciousness of needing to get. The paradigm shift that revolutionizes your relationship with money comes when you recognize that wealth isn't something you pursue, it's something you express. It's not something you strive for, it's something you embody. And this embodiment isn't pretending or fake it till you make it posturing. It's claiming your authentic identity beneath the temporary circumstances. Think about how profoundly this reframes your entire approach to financial abundance. Instead of asking, what do I need to do to become wealthy? You begin asking, how would I live, think, and feel if I were already expressing my natural state of abundance? Instead of focusing on strategies to acquire more, you focus on removing the internal barriers that have been blocking your recognition of what's already yours. This is where the journey becomes intensely personal. It's not about copying someone else's path to prosperity. It's about discovering your own unique expression of abundance consciousness. It's about finding the specific frequency that resonates with your authentic self, the vibration that feels like coming home rather than reaching for something foreign. Let's explore how this inner knowing translates into specific practices that align your entire being with the frequency of abundance. Practices that work while you sleep to attract money effortlessly into your experience. If you've begun to sense that your relationship with money is primarily an inside job rather than an outside chase, type "consciousness creates reality" in the comments below. Here's where most people get trapped in their manifestation journey. They live by sight instead of spirit. What do I mean by this? Living by sight means you're constantly looking at your current circumstances as evidence of what's possible for you. You check your bank account, see a low balance, and conclude, this is my reality. You look at your monthly income, compare it to your expenses, and say, this is what's true. Living by spirit, however, means trusting your inner knowing over external evidence. This revelation has been the catalyst for profound transformation in the lives of those who grasp it. The external facts of your life, your current income, your debt, your financial struggles, are not fixed realities. They're reflections of past frequencies you've been broadcasting. The breakthrough comes when you realize that facts change when consciousness changes. What appears solid and unchangeable is actually fluid and responsive to your vibrational signature. Think about this hidden truth. The world around you is not static, it's responsive. When you shift your frequency, the facts must rearrange themselves to match your new vibration. This isn't wishful thinking, it's the metaphysical architecture of reality. The reason so many people remain stuck in financial limitation is because they keep reinforcing those limitations by giving them their full attention and emotional energy. The pivotal decision in your abundance journey is whether you'll continue to let what you see dictate what you believe, or whether you'll have the courage to let what you know internally reshape what you experience externally. This requires a fundamental shift in how you process reality, a willingness to trust the invisible over the visible, the formless over the formed, the potential over the apparent. Your journey now brings you to understand the two distinct types of consciousness operating in the world. The first type chases money externally, believing that wealth is something to be hunted down, captured, and secured through strategy and effort. This consciousness says, when I have enough money, then I'll feel wealthy. It places the power outside itself, making you a beggar in your inner world, always looking to external circumstances for validation and security. The second type assumes the consciousness of already possessing abundance. It recognizes that wealth is first an internal state before it becomes an external reality. This consciousness says, I am wealthy now in my essential nature, and my external circumstances are simply catching up to this truth. This makes you a creator who calls forth abundance through inner knowing rather than outer striving. The revelation that changes everything is recognizing which of these consciousness types you've been operating from. Most people oscillate between the two, momentarily feeling abundant after a paycheck arrives, then slipping back into scarcity when bills come due. This inconsistency creates a mixed frequency that produces mixed results. The masterful insight is understanding that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you're constantly wanting more money, you're broadcasting the frequency of lack. But when you shift into being the person who already experiences abundance as your natural state, you emit an entirely different signal, one that the universe must respond to according to universal law. Behind the scenes of this process is a principle so profound, yet so simple. Your consciousness is not just observing reality, it's creating it. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption you hold about money is either opening or closing the channels through which abundance flows into your life. The journey isn't about finding these channels externally. It's about removing the internal blockages that have been restricting the natural flow. This mindset revolution requires moving beyond the surface-level understanding of manifestation that's become popular in recent years. It's not about vision boards and affirmations alone, though these can be useful tools. It's about a fundamental recalibration of your relationship with abundance at the deepest levels of your being. The transformation begins when you choose, moment by moment, to live from the consciousness of having rather than wanting, of being rather than seeking, of expressing rather than acquiring. This choice, made consistently, especially in those precious moments before sleep, activates the hidden frequency that attracts money effortlessly. Let's explore exactly how this consciousness shift translates into the specific state of awareness that creates the most powerful attractor field for financial abundance. If you've noticed how your external circumstances tend to mirror your internal state, type "My consciousness creates my reality" in the comments below. Now let's explore what truly separates those who struggle financially from those who thrive effortlessly. The illuminating insight that transforms everything is this: one group lives by effort, the other by assumption. This distinction isn't just philosophical, it's the fundamental difference in how these two groups relate to abundance on an energetic level. When I speak of assumption, I'm not talking about pretending or make-believe. I'm talking about a profound inner knowing, a decision at the deepest level of your being that something is already yours. Not because you've manipulated external circumstances, but because you've shifted your very identity. This assumption carries a vibrational signature so powerful that the external world has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new frequency. The breakthrough in your financial evolution happens when you realize that assumption, not action, creates your world. Of course, inspired action plays a role in the manifestation process, but that action flows naturally from your state of being. It doesn't create your state of being. This reversal of the conventional wisdom is what makes this approach so revolutionary and so misunderstood. Think about it. This way, when you assume the consciousness of already being financially abundant, you naturally begin to make decisions that align with that identity. You speak differently, stand differently, breathe differently. Your nervous system relaxes, your perception shifts. You notice opportunities that were always there but were invisible to your previous frequency. This isn't a strategy, it's a transformation at the causal level of reality. Behind the scenes of manifestation, here's what's actually happening. Your assumption creates a vibrational template that your external reality must eventually match. The universe doesn't respond to what you want or what you work for. It responds to who you are being at the deepest level of your consciousness. The law of attraction has been widely misunderstood and oversimplified. Let me clarify its true operation. When you chase money through desperation or need, you're actually reinforcing its absence in your experience. Every time you think, I need more money, you're broadcasting the frequency of lack. Every time you worry about bills, you're emitting the vibration of scarcity. And the law, being a perfect mirror, reflects that state back to you with unerring precision. This revelation may seem confronting if you've been working hard, using affirmations, visualizing, and still not seeing results. But the missing piece has been understanding that you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are, what you claim, what you live from. In the silence of your soul, consider the mindset shift this requires. Instead of asking, how can I get more money? Begin asking, who am I being in relation to money? Instead of focusing on strategies to increase your income, focus on expanding your capacity to receive abundance. The journey isn't about doing more, it's about becoming more aligned with the frequency of prosperity consciousness. The decisions you make from this new awareness will be fundamentally different from those made from a place of lack. When you operate from the assumption of abundance, you move through the world with a quiet confidence that attracts corresponding experiences. This isn't magical thinking, it's energetic alignment. The impact of this shift ripples through every aspect of your life. Your relationships change, your health improves, your creativity expands. Because you're no longer fragmenting your energy with worry and striving, you're consolidating it in a single, coherent frequency that broadcasts, I am abundant now. This understanding liberates you from the exhausting cycle of chasing external validation. You no longer need to prove your worth through accumulation. You no longer need to justify your existence through achievement. You simply rest in the knowing that abundance is your natural state. And from that place of rest, you become an open channel through which prosperity flows effortlessly. The hidden truth masters understand is that the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you vibrationally insist upon through your consistent focus and feeling. When you're willing to feel wealthy before the money arrives, you activate a frequency that must, by universal law, bring corresponding circumstances into your experience. Let's delve deeper into how this assumption becomes embodied, how it moves from intellectual understanding to cellular knowing, creating the specific frequency that attracts money while you sleep. If this understanding of attracting through being rather than doing resonates with your inner wisdom, type "I attract through my being" in the comments below. So how do we move from intellectual understanding to embodied knowing? This is where the practice of being comes into play. Instead of trying to make wealth happen through external strategies, you begin being wealthy consciously as a state of awareness. This isn't about pretending or engaging in fantasy. It's about accessing a deeper truth that exists beneath the temporary circumstances of your life. When you declare "I am rich," regardless of external evidence, you're not lying to yourself. You're acknowledging a spiritual reality that precedes physical manifestation. You're recognizing that your essential nature is abundant, and your current financial situation is merely a reflection of past consciousness, not a definition of who you truly are. The blueprint for this transformation is remarkably simple, though not always easy. It begins with a decision, a clear, conscious choice to identify with abundance rather than scarcity. This decision isn't made once and forgotten. It's renewed moment by moment, especially when facing contradictory evidence. Each time you choose to feel wealthy despite an empty bank account, you're strengthening the frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. What you make real within yourself must, by universal law, manifest without. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the fundamental architecture of creation. Consciousness precedes form. Being precedes having. The inner landscape always determines the outer landscape. When you truly grasp this principle, you no longer chase external validation. You simply rest in the awareness that what you're experiencing internally is already real on the causal level, and its physical expression is merely a matter of divine timing. The illumination that changes everything comes when you realize you're not trying to get something you don't have. You're expressing something you already are. This subtle distinction creates an entirely different energetic signature. One broadcasts lack, the other broadcasts completion. One repels money, the other attracts it. Now here's where the journey becomes both challenging and liberating. The process only works when you trust the invisible more than the visible, when you're more loyal to your assumption than to your bank statement. This requires a profound paradigm shift in how you relate to reality itself. Most people believe what they see, then feel accordingly. The master of manifestation feels what they know to be true, then sees accordingly. This trust in the unseen isn't blind faith or naive optimism. It's based on understanding the sequential nature of creation. First consciousness, then circumstances. First energy, then matter. First the invisible vibration, then the visible manifestation. Your current financial reality wasn't created today. It's the harvest of seeds planted in consciousness, days, weeks, or months ago. The revelation that transforms your relationship with money comes when you can look at an empty wallet and affirm with complete conviction, "This means nothing. I already have what I seek." This declaration isn't denial. It's recognition of a deeper truth. It's acknowledging that what you're seeing is merely the echo of past vibrations, not a prediction of future possibilities. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this level of trust creates a powerful coherence in your energy field. Instead of the fragmented, contradictory signals most people broadcast, you're emitting a clear, consistent frequency that says, "I am abundant now." This coherent vibration becomes a magnet for corresponding experiences, opportunities, inspirations, synchronicities that align with your internal state. The mindset revolution that accelerates this process happens when you stop seeing your external circumstances as obstacles to overcome and start seeing them as opportunities to practice your new identity. Every bill, every empty account, every financial challenge becomes not a source of stress, but a chance to strengthen your assumption, to declare once again, this is not who I am. I am abundant regardless of appearances. The journey of transformation unfolds not through forcing external change, but through persistent, patient embodiment of your desired state. Each time you choose abundance consciousness over scarcity consciousness, especially when it would be easy to slip into worry or fear, you're building momentum in your new frequency. This momentum eventually becomes so powerful that your external world has no choice but to reflect your internal reality. Let's explore how this practice of being creates specific brainwave patterns that communicate directly with your subconscious mind, especially during those precious moments before sleep when the critical faculty is relaxed and your deeper mind becomes receptive to new programming. If you've experienced moments where you chose to trust your inner knowing over external evidence, type "I trust the invisible" in the comments below. Now, I want to guide you to a profound revelation that completely transforms how you understand your life circumstances, your financial situation, the job you have, the opportunities that come your way. These aren't random occurrences happening to you. They aren't even the truth about you. They are merely shadows cast by your self-concept, reflections of your inner identity projected onto the screen of your physical experience. This insight leads to an extraordinary realization. You're not actually experiencing life as something external to you. You're experiencing yourself. The money in your bank account isn't just a number. It's a perfect reflection of how you see yourself in relation to abundance. Your financial opportunities aren't random. They're precisely aligned with your deepest beliefs about what you deserve and what's possible for you. Think about this revelation for a moment. Every person, every circumstance, every dollar that flows into or out of your life is responding not to what you do, but to who you are being at the core level of your identity. This isn't philosophy. It's the metaphysical architecture of reality itself. Your world, in all its details, is the shadow cast by the light of your consciousness. The awakening that changes everything comes when you truly grasp that your circumstances aren't telling you the truth about reality. They're telling you the truth about your past assumptions. They're showing you what you've been broadcasting on an energetic level. This understanding liberates you from feeling like a victim of external conditions and places the creative power back where it belongs, in your own consciousness. Behind the scenes of manifestation, there's a direct, unbreakable connection between your self-concept and your experience. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, the universe must provide you with evidence that confirms this identity. If you perceive yourself as someone for whom money comes easily, your external world must reorganize itself to reflect this truth back to you. The law is precise, consistent, and completely impersonal. This leads us to understand the root of all financial struggle, a truth so simple yet so profound that most people overlook it entirely. Unless your identity changes, nothing else can change in any lasting way. You might temporarily increase your income through strategy or effort, but if your fundamental self-concept remains unchanged, you'll inevitably return to financial conditions that match your inner image. The hidden truth that masters of manifestation understand is that no amount of affirmations, visualizations, or external strategies will create lasting wealth if you still carry the concept of yourself as one who must struggle financially. These approaches might create temporary shifts, but they can't override your core identity. Your self-concept, the person you believe yourself to be in the depths of your being, is the cause of every financial experience you have. This explains why two people can implement identical financial strategies with radically different results. One person sees a modest return, the other creates extraordinary abundance. The difference isn't in their actions, but in their identities, in who they're being while taking those actions. One is operating from a self-concept of limitation, the other from a self-concept of abundance. The transformation journey begins not with changing your circumstances, but with changing your self-recognition. Instead of asking, "How can I make more money?" begin asking, "Who must I become to naturally attract abundance?" Instead of focusing on external tactics, focus on internal alignment. The decision to shift your identity is the most powerful financial move you can make. This mindset revolution isn't about adding something to yourself that was missing. It's about removing the false limitations you've accepted about who you are. Your natural state is abundance. Your essential identity is one of unlimited creative potential. The journey isn't about becoming something new, it's about remembering something ancient, something that has always been true about you beneath the temporary costumes of limitation. Let's explore how this identity shift moves from intellectual understanding to embodied knowing through specific practices that activate the frequency of abundance while you sleep. If you recognize that your financial circumstances are showing you your self-concept rather than your worth, type "I am more than my circumstances" in the comments below. Let me share a fundamental truth that will transform how you perceive your financial reality. Your world is a mirror that never lies. It reflects with flawless precision the state you occupy within yourself. This mirror principle operates with mathematical exactness, showing you not what you want or what you're trying to manifest, but what you're actually being at the deepest level of your consciousness. This revelation challenges our conventional understanding because it means nothing in your external experience happens by accident or coincidence. Your income, your expenses, your debts, your investments, they're all reflecting something that already exists within you. They're showing you your relationship with abundance, your beliefs about what's possible, and your assumptions about how money works in relation to you specifically. The profound awakening comes when you realize nothing can override the inner image radiating from your soul. No amount of external effort, strategy, or manipulation can create lasting change if the internal frequency remains the same. The mirror doesn't create, it reflects. It shows you with perfect fidelity the feeling state you're broadcasting on an energetic level. Think about this journey of discovery for a moment. Have you noticed how some people seem to attract financial opportunities effortlessly, while others struggle despite working twice as hard? The difference isn't in their actions, but in their inner state, in the frequency they're emitting. One is broadcasting abundance, the other is broadcasting struggle, and the mirror of life, being utterly faithful, gives each exactly what they're being. Now, here's where most people take a completely backward approach to wealth creation. The average person looks at their financial circumstances, the bills piling up, the insufficient income, the mounting debt, and blames these external conditions for their limitations. They point to their empty bank account and say, "See, this is why I can't be free. This is why I'm stressed. This is why abundance eludes me." But what they don't realize is that the outer is not the cause. It's the echo. It's not the originator. It's the reflection. And fighting with your reflection is a profound misunderstanding of how reality operates. It's like standing before a mirror, seeing a frown, and trying to change the reflection by manipulating the glass rather than changing your own expression. The hidden truth that revolutionizes your financial destiny is realizing that to change what you see in the mirror, you must change what the mirror is reflecting, your inner state, your identity, your feeling tone in relation to abundance. This isn't positive thinking, it's energetic alignment. It's not wishful hoping, it's conscious broadcasting. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this understanding changes everything. Instead of focusing your energy on fighting against what is, you redirect it toward being what you wish to experience. Instead of resisting lack, you practice abundance. Instead of trying to push away financial problems, you elevate your frequency beyond the vibration where those problems exist. The transformation begins when you stop wasting energy trying to edit shadows and start embodying the light that casts a different shadow altogether. This doesn't mean ignoring practical action or responsible financial decisions. It means taking those actions from a completely different state of consciousness, one that's already aligned with the abundance you wish to experience. The impact of this shift in perspective cannot be overstated. It moves you from victim to creator, from reactor to initiator, from effect to cause. It places the power back where it always was, within your own consciousness. This isn't about denying what appears in your external experience. It's about understanding its origin and using that understanding to create lasting change. The illumination that changes everything comes when you realize the circumstances you've been fighting against aren't your enemies. They're your messengers. They're showing you with perfect accuracy what you've been feeling, believing, and assuming about yourself and your relationship with them. Use this reflection principle to your advantage by deliberately crafting an internal state that the mirror of life must reflect back as financial abundance. A state so powerful that it works even while you sleep. If you've begun to recognize that your external financial circumstances are the faithful reflection of your inner state rather than the cause of it, type "The mirror never lies" in the comments below. So if the mirror principle shows us that our external reality is merely reflecting our internal state, what's the practical approach to creating lasting financial change? Here's the profound truth that masters of abundance understand. If you wish to change your financial situation, you must change your inner state. Not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, not when you have more proof, but now. Begin now to feel differently about money, about yourself, about what's possible for you. This insight reveals why so many people remain trapped in financial limitation despite their best efforts. They're trying to change the effect without addressing the cause. They're focusing on manipulating external circumstances while maintaining the same internal frequency. It's like trying to change your reflection by adjusting the mirror rather than changing your expression. The blueprint for transformation begins with choosing a new inner atmosphere, not of wanting, hoping, or striving, but of completed desire. This isn't about pretending or deluding yourself. It's about accessing a deeper reality that exists beneath the temporary appearances. When you choose to feel as though your financial desires are already fulfilled, you're not denying your current circumstances. You're transcending them. What makes this approach so powerful is understanding that your subconscious mind, the hidden architect of your reality, responds only to what is felt as already true. It doesn't distinguish between what you're experiencing physically and what you're experiencing emotionally in your imagination. To your subconscious, a vividly imagined and deeply felt experience is just as real as a physical one. This revelation completely changes the game of manifestation. Instead of trying to convince your subconscious through repetition or willpower, you communicate with it through feeling. You speak its native language, the language of emotion, sensation, and lived experience. When you feel wealthy, truly feel it in your bones. Your subconscious accepts this as instruction and begins rearranging your external reality to match this internal state. The journey of inner transformation isn't about adding something new to yourself. It's about removing the false limitations you've accepted about who you are and what's possible for you. Your natural state is abundance. Your essential identity is one of unlimited creative potential. The path isn't about becoming something Different. It's about remembering something that has always been true about you beneath the temporary costumes of limitation. Now, I want to share with you one of the most powerful practices for changing your inner state. A practice so effective yet so simple that most people overlook it entirely. This is the evening practice, the few precious minutes before sleep when your conscious mind begins to relax and your subconscious becomes receptive to new programming. Before sleep each night, take a few moments to enter the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This isn't about visualizing in the conventional sense. It's about fully embodying the state of already having what you desire. See what you would see if your financial abundance were already a fact. Hear the conversations you would have, touch the objects that would surround you, feel the emotions that would naturally arise, the relief, the gratitude, the security, the joy. What makes this evening practice so transformative is that it bypasses the critical faculty of your conscious mind. During your waking hours, your analytical mind often intervenes with doubts, questions, and contradictory evidence. But as you drift towards sleep, this gatekeeper relaxes, allowing your chosen state to be impressed directly upon your subconscious without resistance. When you dwell in that state with joy and expectancy, not straining, not forcing, but simply allowing yourself to feel the natural emotions of your fulfilled desire, you're planting seeds in fertile soil. This nighttime practice is more powerful than any daytime action because it works at the causal level of reality. You're not trying to manipulate effects, you're establishing the cause from which all corresponding effects must flow. The decision to engage in this practice represents a fundamental shift in how you approach manifestation. Instead of struggling to change your outer world, you're focusing on changing your inner world, knowing that the outer must follow. Instead of fighting against what is, you're embodying what you prefer to experience. This isn't about denial or escapism, it's about consciously choosing the frequency you're broadcasting to the universe. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this practice creates a coherent signal that attracts corresponding circumstances into your experience. While the conscious mind sleeps, the subconscious works tirelessly to align your external reality with your internal state. It draws to you ideas, opportunities, people, and resources that match the frequency you've established. Let's explore how this evening practice connects to the specific brainwave state that serves as the gateway to your subconscious mind, a state where manifestation becomes not just possible, but effortless. If you're ready to make this evening practice part of your abundance routine, type "I am changing the cause" in the comments below. Now, let me reveal something profound about the true nature of faith that most traditional teachings completely miss. Faith is not what you've been told it is. It's not belief, it's not hope, and it's certainly not mental agreement with an idea. These common understandings keep people trapped in a cycle of wishing rather than manifesting. True faith is something much more tangible and powerful. It's an emotional knowing that what you desire is already accomplished, even without a single shred of external evidence. It's the deep, unwavering feeling that what you've asked for is already yours in the invisible realm, simply waiting to manifest in the visible. This understanding transforms faith from a passive hope into an active, creative force. When the ancient texts speak of faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, they weren't speaking metaphorically. Substance and evidence aren't abstract concepts. They're referring to the feeling state that precedes physical manifestation. Your emotional certainty is literally the substance from which your desire will be formed, the evidence that exists before physical proof appears. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that faith isn't something you do, it's something you feel. It's not intellectual, but emotional. It's not about convincing your mind. It's about aligning your feeling nature with the reality you wish to experience. When you feel wealthy, not pretending, not affirming, but genuinely feeling it in your body and being, you're exercising true faith. You're creating the energetic substance that must, by universal law, take form in your external reality. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this emotional knowing creates a coherent signal that organizes the quantum field around you. Instead of the scattered, contradictory frequencies most people broadcast, you're emitting a clear, powerful vibration that says, "This is already done." And the universe, being the perfect mirror, must reflect that state back to you in physical form. This understanding illuminates one of the most common errors people make when attempting to manifest financial abundance, what I call praying from lack. Most people approach prayer, affirmation, or visualization from a state of deficiency. They ask for more money because they feel poor. They seek abundance because they feel deprived. They desire wealth because they experience limitation. And herein lies the fundamental contradiction that keeps their desires from manifesting. The hidden truth that transforms your relationship with abundance is this: your subconscious mind, the true creator of your experience, listens not to your words, but to the feeling behind them. It doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you are. When you pray for money while feeling poor, you're actually reinforcing the frequency of poverty. When you affirm abundance while feeling lack, you're broadcasting a mixed signal that produces mixed results. This revelation explains why so many prayers go unanswered, why so many affirmations seem ineffective, why so many visualizations fail to produce results. It's not because the law is broken or because you're doing something wrong technically. It's because the feeling is wrong. You're speaking the language of abundance while broadcasting the frequency of lack. And in the economy of manifestation, feeling always trumps words. The decision point in your journey comes when you realize you must pray, affirm, and visualize, not from a place of wanting, but from a place of having, not from a state of seeking, but from a state of finding. This mindset revolution completely changes how you approach the manifestation process. Instead of begging the universe for something you don't have, you're communing with it from a place of gratitude for what is already yours in consciousness. The transformation begins when you shift from "please give me money" to "thank you for the abundance that is already mine." This isn't semantic wordplay, it's a fundamental realignment of your energetic signature. The first statement broadcasts lack, the second broadcasts fulfillment. The first repels, the second attracts. The first creates resistance, the second creates flow. Think about the impact this understanding has on your daily practice. When you sit down to visualize financial abundance, when you repeat affirmations, when you engage in prayer or meditation, what feeling state are you broadcasting? Are you reaching for something that feels distant and separate from you? Or are you resting in the awareness that what you desire is already yours on the causal level of reality? The journey from poverty consciousness to prosperity consciousness isn't about adding something new to yourself. It's about removing the false limitations you've accepted about who you are and what's possible for you. It's about reclaiming your natural state of abundance and allowing that recognition to permeate every cell of your being until it becomes not just a thought, but a felt reality. Let's explore how this shift in feeling creates a specific brainwave pattern that serves as the gateway to your subconscious mind, especially during those precious moments before sleep when manifestation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. If this understanding of faith as feeling rather than intellectual belief resonates with your inner wisdom, type "faith is feeling" in the comments below. Now, I want to guide you into what I call the inner sanctuary process, the sacred practice that creates the ideal conditions for planting the seeds of financial abundance in your subconscious mind. This process begins not with doing more, but with doing less, with inner silence. The first step is releasing your attention from the noisy, contradictory messages of the world. In our hyper-connected reality, we're constantly bombarded with information, much of it reinforcing scarcity, competition, and limitation. To access the frequency that attracts money effortlessly, you must temporarily withdraw from this external chatter. Close your eyes, take several deep breaths, and begin to enter what the ancient mystics called the secret place, that quiet center within where true creation begins. As you settle into this sanctuary, your awareness naturally shifts from the outer world of effects to the inner world of cause. The chattering mind begins to quiet, and you access deeper levels of consciousness where transformation happens not through effort, but through alignment. This is where the alchemy of manifestation takes place, not in the noise of activity, but in the silence of being. Within this sacred space, you're now ready for the most crucial aspect of the process, seeing what you would see if your desire were fulfilled, and most importantly, feeling what you would feel. This isn't abstract visualization, it's embodied experience. See yourself checking your bank balance and smiling with satisfaction. Hear the conversations you'd have with loved ones about your financial freedom. Feel the weight of abundance in your body. The relaxed shoulders, the deeper breathing, the quiet confidence that comes with knowing you have more than enough. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your subconscious doesn't differentiate between an actual experience and one that's vividly imagined with feeling. When you generate authentic emotions of having already received your desire, the relief, the gratitude, the security, the joy, you're creating neural pathways and energetic signatures identical to those that would exist if the manifestation were already complete in the physical world. Behind the scenes of this process, something remarkable is happening. As you consistently enter this inner sanctuary and generate the feeling of financial abundance, you're creating what neuroscientists call experience-dependent neuroplasticity. You're literally rewiring your brain to recognize abundance as your natural state. You're establishing new neural networks that make prosperity consciousness your default setting rather than a temporary visitor. The transformation accelerates when you realize this isn't about forcing yourself to believe something against your better judgment. It's about allowing yourself to feel something that already exists as potential within you. Let joy, relief, and certainty arise naturally, not manufactured, not performed, but allowed to emerge from the recognition of what's already yours on the causal level of reality. Now let's explore what I call the heart of manifestation, the precise moment when the seed of your desire is planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This moment often arrives unexpectedly, like a sudden illumination. When you declare, "I am rich," and something within you clicks, even momentarily, the seed has been planted. It's that instant of recognition, that flash of knowing, that feeling of, yes, this is already true, that marks the beginning of the manifestation process. The mindset. Revolution happens when you understand that this seed, once planted, must grow according to your faith, not your hope, not your wishing, but your emotional knowing. Just as a physical seed contains the blueprint of the entire oak tree, this moment of recognition contains the complete pattern of your financial abundance. Your task is not to make it grow through force or will, but to water it with repetition, persistence, silence, and stillness. The journey from seed to manifestation follows natural laws. Just as you wouldn't dig up a physical seed every day to check its progress, you don't need to constantly monitor your manifestation. Your consistent practice of entering the inner sanctuary, feeling the reality of your abundance, and then releasing it to the universe creates the ideal conditions for growth. The seed responds not to your anxiety or impatience, but to your consistent feeling tone of already having received. What makes this approach so different from conventional manifestation teachings is that it places the emphasis not on technique, but on authenticity. It's not about how vividly you can visualize or how many affirmations you repeat. It's about how genuine your feeling state becomes. When you say, "I am abundant," and truly feel the resonance of that statement in your cells, in your energy field, in your very being, you've accessed the heart of manifestation. Let's delve even deeper into how this feeling state creates a specific frequency, a vibrational signature that becomes your energetic fingerprint in the universe and attracts corresponding experiences into your life. If you've experienced that moment of inner recognition, that click of knowing when affirming your abundance, type "the seed is planted" in the comments below. Now I want to guide you into what I call the dwelling state, the art of remaining in your chosen consciousness until it becomes your natural home rather than a temporary visit. This is where most manifestation practices fall short. People often dip into abundance consciousness briefly, perhaps during meditation or while repeating affirmations, but then quickly return to their habitual state of lack. This inconsistency creates a fragmented frequency that produces fragmented results. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that manifestation isn't about momentary alignment. It's about sustained embodiment. You must remain in the state of already having received your desire until it feels natural, until it's no longer a performance, but a presence, until having becomes more real than wanting. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey of persistent return to the truth beneath appearances. Think about the profound transformation this represents in your relationship with abundance. You're no longer trying to convince yourself that you're wealthy against contradictory evidence. You're allowing yourself to recognize and embody your natural state of abundance so consistently that it begins to feel more real than the temporary circumstances that seem to suggest otherwise. The hidden truth that masters of manifestation understand is that once a state becomes natural to you, once it feels like home rather than a foreign country you're visiting, the outer world must conform to match this inner reality. It cannot do otherwise. This isn't wishful thinking, it's metaphysical law. The outer always rearranges itself to reflect the inner that has been stabilized. Behind the scenes of this process is a fascinating phenomenon. Your nervous system begins to recognize abundance as your baseline rather than as an anomaly. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information based on what you value and believe, begins to notice opportunities, resources, and pathways that were always present but were previously invisible to you because they didn't match your dominant frequency. The mindset revolution happens when you realize you're not trying to trick your mind into believing something false. You're training it to recognize something that's already true about you beneath the temporary costumes of limitation. Your essential nature is abundant. Your birthright is prosperity. Your authentic identity includes financial freedom. You're simply removing the conditioning that has obscured this truth. Now, let's explore a profound reframing of prayer that completely transforms its power in your life. Most people approach prayer as petition, asking for something they don't have. But true prayer isn't speaking words your heart cannot feel. It's entering the feeling state of fulfillment. It's communing with the infinite, not from a place of separation, but from a place of oneness, not from lack, but from completion. This understanding revolutionizes your spiritual practice. Instead of begging God or the universe for money, you enter the feeling state of already being financially abundant. You let this state become your atmosphere, your reality. When the world and all its contradictory evidence fades away, You sit in the knowing, not the hoping, not the wishing, but the knowing that your desire is already fulfilled in the only place it ever could be: consciousness. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated. You move from being a supplicant to being a co-creator, from asking to receiving, from seeking to finding. This isn't semantic wordplay, it's a fundamental realignment of your relationship with the creative forces of the universe. You're no longer attempting to convince some external power to grant your wishes. You're aligning with the abundance that already exists as potential within you. Consider how this understanding changes your daily practice. When you enter your inner sanctuary, you're not going there to get something you lack. You're going there to commune with what you already have in consciousness, to feel it, to appreciate it, to give thanks for it, as though it were already manifest in form. This gratitude isn't pretense. It's recognition of a truth that exists on a level deeper than appearances. The decision to engage in true prayer as the feeling of fulfillment rather than the asking for fulfillment, represents a quantum leap in your manifestation journey. It moves you from the realm of hoping for change to the realm of knowing the change has already occurred in the causal dimension of reality. From this place of knowing, the manifestation in form becomes not a matter of if, but when. Let's delve deeper into how this dwelling state and true prayer create specific brainwave patterns that synchronize your conscious and subconscious mind, especially during those precious moments before sleep when manifestation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. If you recognize that true prayer is more about entering a feeling state than reciting words, type "I pray through feeling" in the comments below. Now, I want to guide you into one of the most profound revelations about the manifestation process, a truth so powerful yet so misunderstood that it has remained hidden in plain sight for centuries. You've likely heard the ancient saying that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But what if I told you this isn't just poetry or metaphor? What if this is a precise description of the metaphysical architecture of reality itself? The illumination that changes everything comes when you recognize that the feeling you dwell in, that emotional state you consistently occupy, becomes the very substance that gives rise to material form in your experience. Your faith, that deep, unwavering feeling of already possessing what you desire, isn't just a psychological comfort. It's the causal material from which your physical reality is shaped. Think about this revolutionary understanding for a moment. When you feel wealthy, truly feel it as your current reality rather than a future possibility. That feeling isn't just a response to circumstances. It's the substance that precedes circumstances. It's not illusion or self-deception. It's cause waiting to be shaped into fact. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the foundation of how reality manifests from the invisible to the visible. Behind the scenes of creation, this feeling substance operates according to precise metaphysical laws. Just as physical substances respond to physical laws, this feeling substance responds to consciousness laws. When you consistently maintain the feeling of financial abundance, you're not just changing your mood, you're working with the primary material of creation itself. The journey of transformation accelerates when you realize that the substance of your desire already exists, not in the future, not in some distant possibility, but right now in the realm of pure potentiality. Your task isn't to create it from nothing, but to give it shape and direction through your consistent feeling state. The substance is already there. Your consciousness determines the form it will take. Now let's explore what happens when this feeling faith becomes established as your dominant state. When your hope, that which you desire, is clothed in conviction and made alive through feeling, It becomes what I call a blueprint for manifestation. This isn't just a mental image or a fleeting thought. It's a complete vibrational template that contains all the information needed for physical manifestation. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your subconscious mind, the faithful builder of your reality, takes this blueprint and begins to align your world with it. It doesn't question whether your blueprint is logical, reasonable, or consistent with your past. It simply accepts it as instruction and goes to work reshaping your reality to match it. This process occurs not through magic, but through the precise orchestration of events, circumstances, people, and opportunities. Your subconscious begins shifting internal and external factors to create pathways for manifestation that you couldn't possibly plan with your conscious mind. Ideas come to you, synchronicities appear. People enter your life who carry the precise resources, connections, or information you need. The decision to impress this blueprint upon your subconscious, especially during those precious moments before sleep when the critical faculty is relaxed, represents a fundamental shift in how you approach manifestation. Instead of trying to figure out how your desire will manifest, you simply provide the feeling blueprint and let your subconscious handle the how. This isn't abdication of responsibility, it's collaboration with a power greater than your conscious thinking. Consider the mindset revolution this understanding creates. You're no longer frantically searching for strategies, techniques, or pathways to wealth. You're simply dwelling in the feeling of already being wealthy and allowing your subconscious to reorganize your reality around this new pattern. The burden of figuring it all out is lifted from your shoulders. Your task is not to create the result through effort, but to maintain the feeling that summons the result effortlessly. The impact of this approach is profound because it addresses manifestation at the causal level rather than the level of effects. Most people spend their lives trying to manipulate effects, changing jobs, pursuing investments, implementing strategies, without ever addressing the cause, their feeling state, their emotional frequency, their inner blueprint. When you work at the level of cause, the effects naturally reorganize themselves without strain or struggle. Let's delve deeper into how this blueprint creates a specific sequence of events, what I call the bridge of incidents, that leads inevitably from your current circumstances to the full manifestation of your desire. If you recognize that your feeling state isn't just a response to reality, but the very substance from which your reality is created, type "I am the creator" in the comments below. Now I want to guide you into understanding one of the most revolutionary aspects of this entire process, something that completely transforms how you approach manifestation. When you walk through your day feeling abundant, not pretending, not affirming, but genuinely embodying the vibration of wealth, you're actually creating evidence. Not physical evidence that others can see yet, but energetic evidence that your subconscious mind recognizes as real. This insight changes everything because it means you don't need to wait for external proof before you can feel wealthy. Your feeling itself becomes the first evidence, the initial confirmation that the process is already working. When you give thanks for what is already yours in imagination, when you express genuine gratitude for the financial abundance you've claimed in consciousness, you're creating substance on the causal level of reality. The revelation that transforms your entire approach to manifestation is recognizing that this is divine power in motion, the creative process operating through you. It's not wishful thinking or self-deception. It's the proof that what has been spoken in consciousness will manifest in form. The ancient wisdom wasn't being poetic when it said, "Call those things that be not as though they were." This is a precise description of how creation operates, from the invisible to the visible, from consciousness to circumstance. Behind the scenes of this and process Your consistent feeling state creates what scientists might call a morphic field, an energetic pattern that begins organizing physical reality around itself. This field doesn't just exist in your mind. It extends into the quantum fabric of the universe, attracting and repelling experiences based on its vibrational signature. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're literally recoding your relationship with reality at the quantum level. The mindset revolution happens when you realize you're not waiting for evidence to feel abundant. You're creating evidence by feeling abundant. This complete reversal of the conventional approach to manifestation places the creative power back where it belongs, in your consciousness. You're no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You're the author of circumstances. Now let me share with you a practical approach to building this feeling state, especially when external conditions seem to contradict it. This is where the rubber meets the road in your manifestation journey. When bills are piling up, when your bank account is low, when financial pressure feels overwhelming, this is precisely when your practice becomes most powerful. To build the feeling when external conditions contradict it, you must temporarily withdraw from the world of appearances. This isn't escapism, it's strategic realignment. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and enter your imagination, that sacred workshop where all creation begins. Within this inner sanctuary, live the scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. See yourself checking your bank balance and smiling with satisfaction. Feel the weight of abundance in your body, the relaxed shoulders, the deeper breathing, the quiet confidence that comes with financial freedom. The transformation comes when you feel this scene as real, not as a fantasy or a future possibility, but as a present reality. Walk in it, breathe in it, rest in it. Let every cell of your body respond to this inner experience as though it were happening physically. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. Both create identical neural patterns and emotional responses. What makes this practice so powerful is that it creates a bridge between your current circumstances and your desired reality. You're not denying what appears to be true in the moment. You're transcending it by accessing a deeper truth that exists beneath appearances. This is the essence of spiritual mastery, the ability to live from the end result rather than from the current limitation. The decision to engage in this practice represents a fundamental shift in how you relate to reality itself. Instead of being defined by what you can see, touch, and measure, you're choosing to be defined by what you know in the depths of your being. This isn't pretending. It's recognizing that physical reality is simply the last step in a creative process that begins in consciousness. Let's explore how this feeling state, when maintained consistently, creates a specific frequency, a vibrational signature that becomes your energetic calling card in the universe, attracting corresponding experiences into your life with surprising ease and perfect timing. If you've experienced moments when your inner feeling seemed more real than your outer circumstances, type "inner reality creates outer reality" in the comments below. Now, I want to share with you one of the most powerful secrets of manifestation, a revelation that completely transforms how effectively you can impress your desires upon the subconscious mind. This practice I've been describing becomes exponentially more powerful when done during those precious moments before sleep. This isn't just a convenient time to practice, it's a neurological and energetic gateway to profound transformation. As you prepare for sleep each night, something remarkable happens in your brain and nervous system. The conscious mind, which has been analyzing, judging, and filtering all day, naturally begins to grow still. The critical faculty, that part of you that argues with new ideas and rejects what doesn't match your current beliefs, begins to fade. and the gate to your subconscious mind opens wide, creating the perfect opportunity to plant the seeds of financial abundance. This twilight zone between wakefulness and slumber represents a unique brain state where your usual resistance is naturally diminished. In this receptive state, what you feel, not what you think, not what you affirm, but what you genuinely feel, is planted in exceptionally fertile soil. And while you sleep, this feeling seed begins to take root and grow without the interference of your conscious doubts or contradictory thoughts. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your subconscious mind never sleeps. When your conscious mind rests, your subconscious continues working throughout the night, processing and integrating the final impressions you gave it before sleep. If your last thought and feeling before drifting off was anxiety about bills, your subconscious works all night to create more experiences that match that frequency. But if your final impression was the feeling of abundance, security, and financial freedom, your subconscious works just as diligently to manifest experiences that correspond to that vibration. Behind the scenes of this process is a fascinating neurological phenomenon. As you enter the sleep state, your brain transitions from beta waves, associated with active thinking, to alpha waves, associated with relaxed awareness, and eventually to theta waves, a dreamlike state where the boundary between conscious and subconscious becomes permeable. This theta state represents a golden opportunity for re-imprinting your relationship with abundance at the deepest levels of your being. The journey of transformation accelerates when you recognize that this pre-sleep period isn't just convenient, it's sacred. It's a daily opportunity to commune directly with the creative forces of your subconscious without the usual interference of your analytical mind. What you impress upon your subconscious during these precious moments becomes the blueprint from which tomorrow's experiences will be shaped. Now, let me guide you even deeper into understanding what mystics and manifestation masters have called the state akin to sleep, or SATS. This is not ordinary sleep, nor is it full wakefulness. It's that borderland, that threshold few recognize yet all experience during the transition into slumber. This unique state of consciousness is the perfect soil for planting your assumptions about wealth and abundance. In this state akin to sleep, your body is deeply relaxed, your breathing has slowed, and your mind has quieted its usual chatter, yet you maintain a thread of awareness. It's a state of profound receptivity, where the subconscious mind stands open, awaiting your instructions in the form of feeling and imagery. What makes this state so powerful is that it bypasses the resistance that normally prevents new ideas from taking root in your consciousness. The decision to use this state deliberately represents a profound shift in your manifestation practice. Instead of trying to force new beliefs into your consciousness through repetition or willpower during your waking hours, you're slipping them in through the back door when the guard is down. This isn't manipulation. It's working harmoniously with your own psychological architecture. Think about the implications of this understanding. Every night, not occasionally, not when you feel inspired, but every single night, you have access to this powerful state where manifestation becomes not just possible, but effortless. In this borderland between waking and sleeping, the subconscious mind is uniquely receptive to the feeling and image you bring. It doesn't question, doesn't argue, doesn't resist. It simply accepts and begins to work with whatever you impress upon it. Let's explore exactly how to use this state, akin to sleep, to activate the specific frequency that attracts money effortlessly into your life while you rest. If you've noticed that your thoughts and feelings right before sleep seem to influence how your next day unfolds, type "The gateway is before sleep" in the comments below. Now, I want to explore with you the actual mechanics of how the SAT state works within your consciousness. Understanding this will transform how you approach your pre-sleep manifestation practice. This state, akin to sleep, is not ordinary unconsciousness, nor is it the typical waking awareness where your analytical mind dominates. It's a unique threshold where thought becomes still while awareness remains, a delicate balance point where you're conscious enough to direct your imagination, but relaxed enough that your subconscious mind is receptive. What makes this state so powerful for manifesting financial abundance is that it represents the perfect meeting point between your conscious intention and your subconscious power. In your normal waking state, your conscious desires often struggle against the momentum of your subconscious programming, but in this sacred silence of sats, that resistance dissolves. Your subconscious mind stands receptive, awaiting the feeling and conviction you bring, which it will express literally and faithfully in your external reality. Think about the profound implications this has for your manifestation practice. In this borderland state, the images and feelings you impress upon your subconscious aren't filtered through doubt, past conditioning, or logical analysis. They're received directly as instructions to be carried out. And because your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined with feeling, it accepts your scene of financial abundance as a template for creating your external experience. Behind the scenes of this process is a fascinating shift in your brainwave activity. As you drift towards sleep, your brain naturally transitions from beta waves, associated with active problem solving, to alpha waves, associated with relaxed awareness, and then to theta waves, the dreamlike frequency where the boundary between conscious and subconscious becomes permeable. This theta state represents the sweet spot for re-imprinting your relationship with abundance at the quantum level. The journey into mastering this state begins with understanding how to enter it naturally, without force, without strain, and without disrupting your normal sleep patterns. This is where many seekers get caught in unnecessary complexity, thinking they need special techniques or rituals to access this state. But the truth is much simpler and more elegant. To enter sats naturally, start by slowing down and consciously letting go of the outer world. This isn't about forcing yourself into a trance. It's about allowing the natural unwinding process that your nervous system already knows how to do. Lie down in your familiar sleeping position, the one your body associates with rest. Let your breath become rhythmic and calm, not controlled or manipulated, but naturally flowing. Feel the weight of your body sinking into your mattress as tension releases from your muscles. The mindset shift that makes this process effortless comes when you realize you're not trying to make something happen. You're allowing something to happen that already occurs naturally every night. You're simply bringing conscious awareness to a transition you usually move through unconsciously. And in that awareness lies your creative power. As your body relaxes and your mind begins to quiet, but before sleep fully takes you, gently turn your attention inward. This is the pivotal moment, the gateway to the creative state. Feel the reality of your desire fulfilled. See yourself living in financial abundance. Experience the relief of knowing all your bills are paid with money to spare. Feel the security of substantial savings. Experience the joy of giving generously without concern for your own needs. The revelation that transforms your manifestation practice is understanding that this isn't visualization in the conventional sense. You're not watching a movie of yourself becoming wealthy. You're experiencing it from the inside out. You're feeling it in your body. You're breathing it. You're living it internally, while your physical body prepares for sleep. What makes this approach so different from most manifestation practices is that it aligns perfectly with your body's natural rhythms rather than fighting against them. You're not trying to force your subconscious to accept new programming. You're utilizing a time when it's naturally receptive. This creates a harmonious partnership between your conscious intention and your subconscious power. The decisions you make in this twilight state, to focus on abundance rather than lack, to feel gratitude rather than worry, to experience completion rather than wanting, become the instructions your subconscious follows while you sleep. And these instructions aren't just psychological, they're energetic transmissions that begin rearranging the quantum field around you to match your internal frequency. Let's explore how this state creates a specific vibrational signature that becomes your energetic fingerprint in the universe, attracting corresponding experiences into your life while you rest. If you've experienced that moment of perfect balance between wakefulness and sleep, where your imagination feels especially vivid and real, type "I've touched the theta state" in the comments below. Now, I want to reveal what might be the most critical element of this entire process, what I call the sleep vibration. This understanding will transform how you approach those final moments before drifting into unconsciousness each night. The frequency you carry into sleep, that final emotional state, that last assumption, that concluding feeling, is the one most faithfully obeyed by your subconscious mind. There's a profound reason for this that few teachers ever explain. During your waking hours, your conscious and subconscious minds often work at cross purposes. Your conscious mind might affirm abundance while your subconscious holds contradictory programming. But in sleep, this division dissolves. You no longer choose, you become what you become. In that last moment of awareness, you must express when you wake. This isn't poetry, it's the metaphysical mechanics of manifestation. Think about this revelation for a moment. As you drift towards sleep, your analytical mind relaxes its guard. The voice of doubt grows quiet. The constant stream of contradictory thoughts begins to still. And in that sacred silence, whatever feeling state you're embodying becomes the dominant frequency. The instruction your subconscious accepts without question or resistance. This explains why so many people remain trapped in financial limitation despite their best conscious efforts. They might spend their days repeating affirmations and visualizing abundance, but if they fall asleep worrying about bills, feeling anxious about money, or rehearsing lack, that sleep vibration overrides their daytime practice. The feeling they carry across the threshold of consciousness becomes the seed planted in the fertile soil of their subconscious. The transformation begins when you make a conscious decision about how you'll fall asleep each night. Instead of drifting off while scrolling through social media, watching disturbing news, or mentally reviewing your financial problems, you deliberately enter a state of abundance consciousness. You feel the relief of financial freedom. You experience the security of more than enough. You breathe as the person who already has what they desire. Behind the scenes of manifestation, this sleep vibration creates a coherence in your energy field that wasn't possible during your busy day. While your body rests, this coherent signal broadcasts continuously, attracting corresponding circumstances into your experience. Ideas, opportunities, connections, and resources begin aligning themselves with your dominant frequency, not through magical thinking, but through the precise operation of universal law. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what I call the law of reversibility, a principle so profound yet so counterintuitive that it completely transforms how you approach manifestation. This mystical physics of creation overturns common sense, yet it's the key to activating the frequency that attracts money effortlessly while you sleep. Here's the revolutionary understanding. If having money causes you to feel confident and secure, then feeling confident and secure must summon the conditions that produce money. This perfect symmetry, this reversibility, is the hidden architecture of reality that most people never discover. Most live their entire lives believing they must have the external condition before they can experience the internal state. But the masters throughout history have known that the sequence works in reverse, and that's where your power lies. The mindset revolution happens when you realize you don't need to wait until you have money to feel wealthy. By deliberately generating the feeling of wealth now, especially during those precious moments before sleep, you activate the very frequency that attracts financial abundance into your experience. You're not pretending or practicing self-deception. You're aligning with a metaphysical principle that governs how reality manifests from thought to form. Consider the profound implications this has for your manifestation practice. Instead of trying to manipulate external circumstances to create internal states, you generate the internal states that must, by universal law, create corresponding external circumstances. Instead of thinking, when I have $1 million, then I'll feel secure, you think, I choose to feel secure now, and this feeling will attract the $1 million. This reversal of the conventional approach places the creative power back where it belongs, in your consciousness. You're no longer dependent on external conditions to determine your internal state. You're recognizing that your internal state creates your external conditions. This isn't positive thinking. It's understanding the causal relationship between consciousness and experience. The journey of transformation accelerates when you apply this principle specifically during those twilight moments before sleep. As you lie in bed, feeling the weight of your body against the mattress, breathing deeply and rhythmically, you deliberately generate the feeling of financial abundance, not as a future possibility, but as a present reality. You feel the confidence, the security, the freedom, the generosity that naturally accompanies wealth. And in that feeling, sustained, embodied, genuine, lies the frequency that must attract its physical counterpart. If you've experienced moments when deliberately changing your feeling state seemed to shift your external circumstances in unexpected ways, type "The law of reversibility works" in the comments below. Now I want to guide you into understanding one of the most overlooked yet powerful forces in manifestation, your inner speech. This isn't just the words you speak aloud to others. I'm talking about that quiet, constant internal conversation flowing through your mind all day long. The commentary that accompanies every experience, every decision, every interaction. This internal dialogue isn't just passive observation. It's actively forming the blueprint of your world. Most people never realize that the words they speak within themselves are literally shaping their frequency. When you say internally, "I never have enough money," or "financial freedom is so far away from me," you're not describing your reality, you're creating it. These aren't innocent observations, they're creative commands that your subconscious accepts without question. Your internal narrative becomes the vibrational template from which your external experiences are shaped. This revelation transforms how you approach manifestation because it shows you that money comes not by wishing or even by working hard alone, but by the frequency established through your inner speech. The person who works tirelessly while internally repeating, "It's never enough," will experience precisely that reality, never enough, regardless of how much they earn. Meanwhile, someone who might work less but maintains an inner dialogue of "I am always abundantly provided for," will find that resources flow to them with remarkable ease. The journey behind the scenes of transformation begins when you become conscious of this internal conversation that's been running on autopilot. Start listening to what you're telling yourself about money, about wealth, about what's possible for you. You might be shocked to discover how often your inner dialogue contradicts your conscious desires. This awareness is the first step toward deliberate creation. The mindset shift that changes everything happens when you begin to curate your inner speech with the same care you might choose your words when speaking to someone you deeply love. instead of allowing habitual thoughts about limitation to dominate your internal conversation. You deliberately choose thoughts aligned with abundance consciousness. You begin speaking to yourself from the perspective of already having received what you desire. Think about the profound impact this has on your energetic signature. Each time you catch yourself in an internal dialogue of lack and consciously shift to a dialogue of abundance, you're recalibrating your frequency. You're literally changing the instructions you're giving to the quantum field around you. And this field, being perfectly responsive, must reorganize itself to match your dominant inner speech. Now let me share with you one of the most powerful applications of everything we've discussed, what I call the art of sleeping rich. This isn't just about visualizing abundance before sleep. It's about going to bed as the person who already is, already has, already walks in fulfillment so completely that nothing more needs to be done. It's about carrying across the threshold of consciousness, not the mood of wanting or hoping, but the mood of completion and gratitude. The revelation that transforms your entire manifestation practice is understanding that the mood you carry into sleep, that final emotional state before consciousness fades, becomes the blueprint of tomorrow. While your body rests, this mood continues broadcasting, organizing events, circumstances, opportunities and connections to match its frequency. You're not creating during sleep. You're broadcasting the creation you've already established in consciousness. Behind the scenes of this process, your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what you have in physical reality and what you've accepted as real in your consciousness. When you fall asleep feeling wealthy, truly feeling it as your current reality rather than a future possibility, your subconscious accepts this as instruction and works tirelessly through the night to align your external circumstances with this internal state. The decision to practice sleeping rich represents a fundamental shift in how you approach manifestation. Instead of ending your day reviewing problems or worrying about finances, you deliberately enter a state of abundance consciousness as you prepare for sleep. You feel the relief of financial freedom. You experience the security of more than enough. You breathe as the person who already has what they desire. Let's explore how this practice of inner speech and sleeping rich connects to the specific brainwave patterns that create the ideal conditions for effortless manifestation while you rest. If you've noticed how your inner dialogue shapes your experience of reality, type "I am watching my inner speech" in the comments below. Now, I want to introduce you to one of the most revolutionary practices in this entire manifestation process, something that completely transforms how you relate to your past experiences. This practice is called revision, and it's the art of reimagining past experiences to align with your new frequency. Most people don't realize that their past isn't fixed, it's fluid in consciousness. And by deliberately revising events that contradict your desired state, you can change the vibration you carry forward into your future. Every night before sleep, when you're already in that relaxed state where the conscious mind is beginning to quiet, take a few moments to review your day. Look for any scenes, conversations, or experiences that reinforced feelings of financial limitation or lack. Perhaps you received a bill that triggered anxiety. Maybe you had a conversation about money that left you feeling restricted. Or you might have made a purchase that caused guilt or worry. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that these experiences aren't carved in stone. They exist as impressions in consciousness that can be revised, reimagined, and realigned with your new identity. Instead of accepting these experiences as they appeared to happen, you consciously reimagine them as you would have preferred them to unfold. See yourself receiving that bill with a smile, knowing you have more than enough to cover it. Reimagine that conversation about money flowing with abundance and possibility. Feel yourself making that purchase with joy and freedom. This isn't denial or pretending. It's a profound metaphysical practice that changes the vibrational residue these experiences leave in your consciousness. When you revise an experience in imagination, with genuine feeling, you're actually changing the impression it makes on your subconscious mind. You're converting experiences of lack into experiences of abundance. And since your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what actually happened and what you vividly imagine with feeling, it accepts your revised version as the new instruction. Behind the scenes of this practice, you're engaging in what could be called divine editing, changing the storyline of your life, not by manipulating external events, but by transforming how these events are recorded in consciousness. This changes the vibration you carry forward into your future, which in turn changes the experiences you attract. The transformation journey accelerates when you make this revision practice part of your nightly routine. Instead of falling asleep carrying the energy of the day's limitations and struggles, you consciously rewire those experiences to align with abundance consciousness. This creates a coherence in your energy field that wasn't possible when contradictory impressions remained unresolved. Now, I want to share with you the final key to activating the frequency that attracts money effortlessly while you sleep, what I call resting in power. This isn't about doing more or trying harder. It's about resting, not in passivity but in power, not in idleness but in identity. It's about recognizing that the wealth you've sought was never separate from you, never out there waiting to be chased down and captured. It was always within, waiting only for your recognition, acceptance, and assumption. The mindset revolution that completes your transformation happens when you realize you're not working toward abundance, you're working from abundance. You're not becoming wealthy, you're recognizing the wealth that has always been your essence. This shift from becoming to being changes everything about how you relate to prosperity. From this moment on, let your life express inner wealth in every dimension. Speak gently, with the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing to prove. Walk boldly, with the natural grace of someone who knows their value isn't determined by external measures. Give generously, with the open-handedness of someone who understands that abundance increases through sharing rather than hoarding. And most importantly, sleep as one who is already there, already in possession of the financial freedom you desire. The decision to rest in this power represents the culmination of everything we've explored. It's not about denying your current circumstances or pretending things are different than they appear. It's about recognizing a deeper truth that exists beneath appearances, the truth of your abundant nature, your divine inheritance, your natural state of prosperity. Let's explore how this state of resting in power creates a specific brainwave pattern that synchronizes your conscious and subconscious mind, opening you to receive abundance with an ease and grace that defies conventional understanding. If you've begun to recognize that true wealth is a state of consciousness rather than a number in your bank account, type "I am wealth embodied" in the comments below. You've just discovered what many will search for their entire lives yet never find: the hidden frequency that attracts wealth while you sleep. This isn't just information, it's a doorway to transformation. What makes this approach so powerful is that it works with the natural laws of consciousness rather than against them. It aligns you with abundance at the causal level where all creation begins. I've shared these principles with thousands of people who have experienced profound shifts in their financial reality, not through struggle or strain, but through aligning with their true abundant nature. If you've resonated with this message, if something within you has recognized these truths as something you've always known but perhaps forgotten, I'd love to continue this journey with you. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Each week, I share insights and practices that deepen your understanding of how consciousness creates reality, not just in theory, but in practical ways that transform your everyday experience. This is about reclaiming your power as the conscious creator of your life. If this video has illuminated something meaningful for you, let me know by leaving a like. It helps others discover this content who may be searching for exactly this message at exactly this moment in their journey. In the comments, simply type, "I am the frequency," if you're committed to putting these principles into practice in your own life. I read every comment and love connecting with those who are walking this path of conscious creation. Right beside this video, you'll find another exploration that builds on what we've discussed today. It's about how to maintain this frequency even when faced with contradictory evidence. Click there when you're ready to. Deepen your understanding of how to remain steady in your abundance consciousness regardless of appearances. Remember, you're not seeking something outside yourself. You're remembering who you've been all along, a being of unlimited creative potential for whom abundance is the natural state. Sleep well tonight, knowing that as you rest, the frequency of wealth is working effortlessly through you.